Alrighty. What's up, everybody? Good evening. There we go. All right. We should be online. There we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully, you guys had an awesome weekend, relaxing weekend. Last week was pretty crazy. Um, give everybody just a few minutes here and we'll get to it. All right. What's good, Steven? What's up, Tanner? How's it going, everybody? All right. Good evening. Nice. What's up, Steven? Yeah, thanks for hopping on, dude. I'm firing up the TikTok right now. Alrighty. So it looks like everybody's kind of piling in right now. Um, as always, we have requests coming in from the Discord first. Those are always so if you're in the Discord, go ahead and drop those in the live trading chat. I will be getting fun. Or sorry, I just read the word fun. I will be getting to those first. I'm not having fun with this. All right. So I already have some requests there. Um, need a little charting to wash the past loss out of your mouth. Um, man, how did the Saints do? Did they? I'm not that. I don't follow football that much anymore. We won. All right, sweet. We won. Cool. Guess I should start sports betting. Awesome, Jamie. Alrighty, so let's of course, we need to start with the overall climate of the week that we're going into. We don't ever want to go into the market with just analysis. We want to know kind of the climate that we're stepping into. So of course, you guys know that I'm always starting the week with the economic calendar because that's going to be the data that's going to move the markets the most. So we're gonna do you need to pay for it to watch yours? No, you don't. Oh, yes, you do. Sorry. Yes, you do. But I'm on YouTube right now. Link in the bio. Industrial production, capacity utilization, both of those are going to be high impact, and that's one of the best things about this particular site is it is going to give you an idea of the impact. And so Monday and Tuesday could be relatively volatile with the high impact data. We also have housing and building starts there. And then going into the next week, we also have initial jobless claims, continuing claims, existing home sales. And so we have some relatively high impact movement or data coming in here. I think as well, I don't think, I know, if we step over here to the earnings, where do I throw tickets in the Discord? Oh, live trading chat. I will tag you. Hey, is there a code for us for a TradingView discount? Yes, I will get that to you guys. I just tagged everybody. All right, so not the full kickoff, but big companies coming in. So we know Monday and Tuesday we have relatively high impact. We also have it's industrial data that we're going to be receiving. So not too much coming in on Monday. So Monday may not be, we may have to look for individual volatility or specific momentum on specific stocks, news-based stuff. We'll see how that goes. Tuesday, we do start off with Netflix, Johnson & Johnson, some relatively bigger companies, only 38 companies reporting. Tesla on Tuesday, IBM, Verizon, Abbott, This is not the full send off again. Snap, T, Intel, American Airlines, Neuro, FCX, Cliff reporting on Friday. But the week finally, or the week after, crazy. We've got 53 companies reporting next Monday, next Tuesday, 127, 211 reporting on Wednesday, and then Thursday we're getting the full 400 companies basically, and then 433 companies on Friday. So a lot of volatility heading our way. So as we prepare for this week, we're also looking at a lot of stocks that are breaking out of channels to the upside, and that includes stocks as far as fuel cell to Tesla. So we're seeing a lot of movement to the upside, a lot of rebounding here. So as with that, we'll go ahead and just want to give you guys an idea of the week that we're heading into. As far as my watch list, I actually left it up here. There's Apple, Microsoft, SU, SPWR, Macy's, Fuel Cell, Tesla. PayPal's on the list, on the side list. Sony's on the side list. We may have to take Sony and add to that position if we continue moving to the upside. Snap-on is also another one that I'm watching, and PAG. So, no, I did not see Elon go live. Afternoon, everyone. How about them? I didn't even see him, but I did play football in high school in their stadium once upon a time. Okay, so uh let's see, what was the first request that we have? And I'll go over my watch list more in depth in the morning. The reason why I do that is because I don't want to I will go over them, but I don't want to spend a whole lot of time charting something for a short-term play when the gap up or the gap down is going to make all the difference. So I like to update people as that comes in. So alrighty, let's where are those requests? So snow. Thoughts on SPY actually was the first one. So we're gonna go take a look at SPY here. What's up, everybody? I am on YouTube right now, so the link is in the bio. Hey, what's up? Good evening, Roxana. Yeah, no problem. SPY, yes, that is the first one we're doing right now. So the first request here was SPY. I actually was just talking about SPY a little bit earlier. So moving averages, gonna put on my EMAs, move to the daily. Okay, so first of all, the downtrend that we spoke about last week, starting from this high, running down here, fought with that, broken. If you go to the 4 hour here, you do start to see, I might have to, there's a lot of gap. So that's another thing that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. We do have the overall setup of a inverse head and shoulders, shoulder there, head there, shoulder there. You'll see Apple, Microsoft, a lot of other companies like that doing the same thing. So all that being said, SPY does look to continue moving to the upside, but again, there is a gap underneath us, not too far away. And then we did it into Friday with a ton of momentum or volume to the upside. All that being said, the target that I have currently, if we do continue running into the same resistance for SPY, is going to be all the way up around 465, which is crazy to think about in the climate that we're in currently. But with all of the data that we have coming in Monday and Tuesday, it may not be outside of the question to see SPY fill that gap before we actually take our next move to the upside. The overall setup here is the inverse head and shoulders, but oftentimes when we're moving to the upside on any given stock, I'm going to be looking at my most bullish moving average, and my most bullish moving average that I use consistently, just like other people do, is the 9-day moving average, which is lagging. That being said, I like when a stock, when it does move to the upside, takes the time to retrace back to that moving average, whether that be through consolidation or meeting it halfway 50-50. So all that being said, looking at SPY right now, slap up against this resistance I had for 446. You're at 446.21. I'm not sure how futures are, I haven't looked at futures yet. But overall, we have that gap right underneath us. So if we do show weakness, or that data does compromise the uptrend, we do have two targets to watch. So 442.60 is where the gap gets filled underneath us. That gap starts at 444. And then the target to the upside, if we do happen to break our and move to the upside off of this inverse head and shoulders, is going to be 448. So that's the level they're going to be watching for to the upside. And you can see the reason why I set that target. If you go and line this up, we're going to go and see that there's several resistance points here, here, and if you line that up, you can see it was once upon a time a resistance to break, failed a couple of times. So all right, so that's kind of SPY. You do actually, not to mention, so let me throw this out there as well. On our hourly time frame, the RSI is oversold. So a lot of the times you have to correlate the time frame indicators with the potential move. So if something on the hourly sets up, maybe it's only going to give you a small move in comparison to the daily. So if you do see an oversold or overbought, and this is overbought, excuse me, overbought indicator here on SPY, then there's a good chance that if it's on the hourly, you might not see such a terrible pullback, but more of a retracement. So, all right, so got SPY. I think the next one was snow. And I'm going to be moving right along here. Those of you in YouTube, this does require some of you guys' patience because I do move chronologically through these requests. So some people I may not get to, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that I give you guys a good, my perspective or my analysis, and I don't want to rush through these things. So, Nadim, you should be if you're in the Discord, request via the Discord. You guys do not have to go through YouTube and wait. So, um, so I did want to show you guys something, and I'm not quite done with it yet. So, remember I was talking about how there's no auto-generated standard deviation channels. There are ones that run off of points, so you can run this, and it does auto-generate a via that. So if you mark this time frame, it will show you the trend, and oftentimes changing the channel distance or length won't change it. So even if I was to go here to here, oftentimes it'll give you some ambiguous weird setup like this. But if you go and look at the short-term frame, like obviously from a drop or something like you would chart anyway, you can do that. So you can see that it does auto-generate a channel for you. So all that being said, I'm not going to use that channel. Excuse me. All that being said, you did make a inverted hammer here and then a hammer candle. So a lot of fight happening for snow right now on the lower time frame. You can see, and oftentimes when I see setups like this, run off the top, these can oftentimes, you see the fake out here or the big pullback here. Oftentimes these can set up as rising wedges. At the moment, you did pull back, so I would just make this really easy for a short-term trade. The overall trend is moving to the upside, and you can use that channel that I showed you, but the short-term trend here is going to be marking this range, so 330. Anywhere below 335, I would anticipate a pullback to this support. And I do think that this support that I have marked out here is respectable. You can see the angle running off of this initial drop, and then the next couple of bounces until you make your way to the upside there. So, oh yeah, no, you're fine. Anybody in the Discord just drop those requests in there. So, Bloomberg Netflix estimates Squid Game will be worth to almost 900 million. Falls on Netflix. Why is that not on my watch list? Squid Games. Also, Walmart doing deals with Netflix might be something to look for there. Okay. How do I get into? Sorry. This stock market is cancer on our economy. Yeah, I'd agree with you to some extent. But what do you do? I can't take down the economy. So anyway, on snow, the range here, you're pulling back and this could be counted as a bear flag technically, but I would just watch for a pullback below 330. If you do go 330, watch this dynamic support, and I would personally watch for a pullback to around 325. That would be the mark that I would be looking for there. I'm not watching Squid yet. It's pretty intense. I mean, there's an initial like gut check, like, oh God, like this is pretty fucking violent. And I don't watch scary movies. Like I'm not a scary movie guy. Life's already pretty scary. And some of the I don't know, man. Some of the right, I'm like, dude, how'd you think of that? That's pretty messed up, man. Like that, how'd you go? Yeah, that's too far. But save that for another talk. Is this the right one? MRVI, Goodwood. So keeping this one simple, I don't know if you're watching this one for a potential support bounce. You're right around that support. So you can see this one's 36.75. The support that I see here where you initially bounced was 36 even. And oftentimes it's always going to be those whole numbers. You can see that on the daily time frame, you are very, very overbought or oversold, excuse me. So this one is definitely due for a bounce. I think knowing the fundamentals here is probably relatively important. Now, as far as a trend from this point, you could see a bounce off 36. It could just be this zone that you end up bouncing off of. Obviously, there's no such thing as like a direct, you do have the $36 mark, but obviously there's going to be a zone or a supply or demand zone beneath you. So looking at a potential bounce here on MRVI, you would just want, let me see, are looking at the potential trend going in on MRVI, you could see a bounce and see like a crazy looking head and shoulders. There are gaps to fill on MRVI right here. I'm just hand drawing these right now. So 46 50 and $48. But again, knowing the fundamentals or why this company dropped is going to have a lot to do with the trend. So if they fucked up. I mean, if they messed up or did something bad, then you could definitely see continuation to the downside below 36. But it's probably inevitable after such a long or hard drop that you will see some sort of bounce at 36 before continuing to the downside. So, um, oh, Daniel Sanchez says, I got a family. Please try Amazon. I got to go for that one now. Sorry. Nadim's the first one to do that. He's Mary Jane stocks. I think CGC is actually pretty badass for that new Wana purchase where they just purchased Wana. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so keeping it moving here. Again, I'm on YouTube right now, so link in the bio. Let me go change this. Okay. Did anybody short NRXP on Friday when I signaled that? Well, I didn't even signal it. I just mentioned. I think it was NRXP. It dumped. I didn't signal it to the upside, to the downside though. Okay, so Doran, you asked for KOHU. Oh yeah, there we go. It's like a pretty big wedge. That's pretty damn big wedge there. With any setup like this, anytime we're heavily consolidated underneath a resistance like this, that meaning that rather than seeing a sharp rejection, we're just seeing kind of a slow and steady downtrend. It has been that way, but you can see there's not really an aggressive drop. There's no real pullback here. It's just kind of slowly tapering to the downside. So you could watch for a bounce here. This is the support at $29 where you see obviously $30 is going to come into play. $30 and $29 here. This is also going back. You can see right there where you ended up rejecting for the first time, breaking out to the upside. So this is a highly respectable level. If you break that, then you could rely on the very same dynamic support, and that would likely happen around the bottom. So if you go see, it's all supply and demand. Oftentimes the dynamic supports. That's why I tell people, like you should learn supply and demand and this type of technical analysis as well. But just looking at this little zone below us, if we did end up breaking the top of that supply, or that supply zone, or excuse me, this would be a demand zone, then we could end up breaking down and falling to the bottom of it, and that would be around $26, which could play into our support here as well. So I would be looking for, if this just continues to pull back, I don't know if there's news, this would even count as a double bottom as well on a lower time frame, but overall you do have a reversal pattern forming on KOHU. So AMAT was the next one. So it looks like I already had AMAT charted, and this one ended up breaking trend. Oftentimes when you break trend, you will form a PLTR is a good example of that. Oftentimes when you break a trend line, any type of trend line, you will retest it. And oftentimes that can be elongated. Or if this is a trend that fell due to market conditions, oftentimes you can see a correction. And I think you're pretty much at that point with AMAT here, where you are making, and I do have this a little bit adjusted. So you are to a T retesting that. And at the moment you did make this hammer candle, but then right there you get that small rejection off of the 50-day EMA and this previous support now turned resistance. So the goal is, just to keep it simple, is you're going to want to get above basically 134, probably above 135 at its whole. And that would possibly give you another chance to take a crack at this high of 143, 144. If not, if you do see a rejection here, then I would be looking at a bounce or the first drop down to 129. And you can see that zone right below you right here. Again, if you guys are on YouTube and in the Discord, you guys can leave your request in the Discord right there. So anyway, so if we end up rejecting and falling back into this zone, we want to lose this zone, and then we could end up falling back down into the 118. So overall, the setup here, or the price action regardless, looks relatively bearish, but we would just want to see confirmation by seeing a rejection on AMAT. So but anywhere above that, that 50, you could potentially see a reclamation and a run to the highs. So all right. um how long, Adam, has communication seemed weak? Because at this point I feel like I've seen too much red on them. Um okay, so well, TMUS, so you said TMUS, let's look at it. Okay, so yeah, wow. Really, really long downtrend here. And really at this point, it's inevitable. I think that you'll see potentially a drop. I do see a rejection here off of that 9-day moving average here, an engulfment happening. So possibly another test of 116 easy for this stock. It depends on how you open up tomorrow. You are scraping around the overbought, oversold. But if you did end up bouncing, oftentimes when you see these rounded tops, often you can see a little bounce up here to form an inverse cup and handle, and that's a thing. So it's just a fake out. It's just almost a bull trap. So chart Microsoft, please. I have 2 calls, and ooh, you have calls on Microsoft? It's not bad. Wait, expiring when? Friday? Oh my God. You guys got when you go out further in expiration, you're paying for insurance. Think about it that way. So just because it's cheap, if you can afford 5 0-day or weekly contracts, maybe just buy 2 going out a little bit further. So but anyway, T-Mobile, possible bounce. Even oftentimes I've seen retest of 200-day EMAs. We've been below the 200-day EMA for quite some time. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting level. If it does break here, if it does break 116, I think the first obvious level, 113, dead center in the middle of this zone right here, and then a drop down to 108. So You have earnings, so that's going to tell you everything. In fact, that is October 25th. So yeah, and that's going to be a big thing. Honestly, T-Mobile moving it down into earnings, who knows? Maybe it ends up getting a good bounce. Maybe the real momentum comes on earnings. Might end up being a good earnings play. I'm gonna have to write that down. TMUS, excuse me, TMUS, not T. Um, all right, guys, I'm moving my way down. Hopefully, I'm getting to them. So I've got Tesla right now. I've got Amazon, Neo, um, Neo, Baba. I think that's it. Guys, all requests are on my YouTube channel. Link in the bio. Okay. Um, so for Tesla, right? Okay, so Tesla, I think man, it's steamrolled. This and I do think that you're gonna get a pullback. And that's not. I think it's gonna be healthy. We need one, but at this point, Tesla does look like it's gonna go grab and slap all-time highs. Based off this momentum. Now, Manny is one of the ones who I originally started using the 500 HMA. And you'll find that especially on time frames like the hourly, it really, for Tesla, the 500 HMA is like, some type of wrangler for Tesla. It really does matter where it is in comparison to Tesla. And we did have a setup on Tesla that ended up getting blown out. This pattern, and this is Tesla for you. This is Tesla in a nutshell. This company has blown people's technical patterns, and that's the thing about technicals is we're not supposed to rely on them. We're looking at them for trends. We're looking at them for risk management. We're looking at them for entries and exits, support bounces, but understanding the climate or the company that you're watching and the fact that yeah, there's a ton of people who are all forever bullish on Tesla, never sell. We've got some of them in our group, and so like with that type of sentiment, with that type of momentum, Tesla can blow out. And that's the thing. Channels, this is a channel here on Tesla. Channels are defined, are definitive trends that we can find. Those channels can be broken and will be broken eventually to the downside or the upside. And so that's what you're finding here on Tesla. So the 500 HMA was right above that channel. That's where we broke. And oftentimes, and this is rare that you get this, but you'll get a HMA, an EMA HMA crossover. I don't ever even teach people about this because it hardly ever happens. But when it does, it's a pretty significant move to the upside. So you can already see our EMAs are lagging. So what could happen in this zone is the same thing that happened in this zone previously. Chop. We're not going to see, and maybe I could be wrong, but from what I've seen before, we're not going to see a crazy immediate run into all-time highs. Now, the momentum carrying us from Friday could bleed into Monday. There is a lot of data um, showing that are providing a lot of volatility to the market. So all that being said, you have an overbought RSI. You need a pullback. You need to pull back so that way you can run further. But also, the thing that throws a monkey wrench in everything I just said, right, is earnings. So earnings, like technicals, they look great. Momentum, great. The area in which we're moving up towards, and it's all great. Volume, a little questionable. That's the only place that I would be like, eh. But earnings are going to be the real driving factor to where we end up moving to the upside here. So all I have to say about Tesla is good luck. Um, and listen to Manny. If you're in our Discord group, listen to Manny because he really does know Tesla as far as trend trading and understanding how this thing moves. It still has a gap underneath it that's waiting to get filled. So they're Monday, knowing that it's overbought on all different time frames, could make it an easy target for retail trying to chase this run. So I would warn you to be careful, but anywhere over 850, Tesla's likely to run with good volume. So And with that being said, Bitcoin here just slapped. I told y'all to buy the dip. Sorry. This thing actually dipped farther than my dip. It fell, and then I had to rebuy the dip earlier today. But this one's ripperoning right now. This is beautiful. Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. Sheesh. Sorry. Looks like we're about to go hit highs here on Bitcoin, and tap all-time highs. You heard it. Well, you probably didn't hear it for first. The crypto burb. If anyone has any questions on or wants to know who my favorite crypto person is, it's Crypto Burb on Twitter. You can tell him tag my name or something. No, I'm about to do BKR. I may have skipped that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Sorry. Um, Baker's Hughes company. Okay, I'll get to that one. So anyway, that's it for Tesla. Honestly, just watching price action, it's going to be running up into all-time highs. So be careful on that one. BKR, I'll do cryptos after stock stuff. But I'll do that one for sure. Okay, so as far as BKR, this one looks like it's been in an extended downtrend here forever, going back to, oh my God, what is happening here? Baking huge mistakes. What's going on here? So it does look like you did break a really long downtrend from December 2016 all the way to November of last year. No, you're good. So overall, the company's trading kind of like crap, kind of a little bit crazy, but definitely more momentum or push to the upside. You can see the volume really start to surge. Especially here, you do see spikes in volume at these lows. I don't know what this company is, so I think knowing the fundamentals on a company that has been in a downtrend for so long is probably crucial. I mean, this is pretty crazy. You see this at $48, and just slowly but surely this company melts to $9. So now that you're back in the $20 range, this would be the accumulation zone, and it definitely anywhere above 28.50 right here, this previous break, right? That's where I could potentially see more upside just on a technical basis. But what a crazy trading company. I mean, this is overall one of those trading trends that it can be difficult to nab. What I'm going to do here, though, is I'm actually going to throw a regression channel up there. So okay, so you could see $30 based on this channel trend, and you can't, unfortunately, it's the one thing that sucks about these trends is if you want to further the trend, you have to go and copy it like this. There you go. So that could be the future trend here for BKR, and that is a good standard deviation setup that you could look for. So my next target would be somewhere in the range. Yeah, I would say $30 to $31. You have earnings also, which is again another one of those things that can blow everything that I said out of the water. But setting up that deviation channel, I think, is worth it. So. Again, if you guys are just joining the Discord, or the YouTube, I'm making my way down to, oh man, that song. Every time I say I'm making my way downtown, walking fast, I can't. I just want to, but I can't. But making my way down the list in chronological order. So, thank you guys. If you guys want, you can always hop back out and this week I'm going to hire someone to write down the time in which I start each ticker, and then that way I can provide that list for you, because I am not keeping track of that. I'm not on Adderall right now. Anyway, hopefully that helps. Okay, so got Tesla, Amazon, because Jeffrey has a family. All right, for you and your family. So remember we were talking about Amazon. By the way, Amazon was an amazing play on Friday. Unfortunately, had a bit of a bummer of a day after that, but it was really awesome to be able to walk away and have you guys hit a big winning trade like that. Oftentimes, Amazon will provide that type of movement. And Fridays are my favorite time to play Amazon. Fridays are, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So anyway, daily time frame, we had that crazy head and shoulders that we were looking at. Obviously, Amazon rejected that pattern and bounced on its 200-day EMA that we do use quite often. Now, I do know, and I know some people will probably be like, well, there's the SMA. Uh, Amazon is one of those stocks that does, because of the range that it currently trades in, and the price data hasn't changed much at all. The SMA does work, right? Because the simple moving average is taking data, all time data, right? And that's how it's calculating it. At some point, when the data stays so close in range, it's going to start being more respectable. And so the SMA, you probably see that the SMA is just right down here, just a couple of different points. But anyway, for Amazon, there is a gap, and that is the target at the moment. The gap is 40, starts at 42.72, and that gap closes on the daily at 45.50, which is a psychological target that you can aim for. And that's probably going to provide a good day trading or scalping opportunity, depending on how it moves in that range. Now, what I also want to say is this head and shoulder pattern wouldn't get blown until that gap gets filled and bypassed. Now, it can still reverse at any point, and this pattern, because it's taken obviously since April of this year until now to form, definitely could end up playing out. But uh oh my god, that's really funny. Good morning, you beautiful platypus. You better draw me a platypus picture or something, dude. All right. So that's Amazon. I think going down to the hourly, obviously, I have a couple of targets here. You know, the gap fill, you're likely to see a reject. In fact, I would be careful about trying to long the resistance. This is your resistance. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it 43.30. 43.30. Look at the RSI, okay? Make sure when you're walking across the street to look both ways, not one way. So yes, there is a gap fill. That's one way to look. But look down. Look at the RSI. Look at the little bit of the weakness in the candles, right? So you get the initial pop, retail takes over. You're gonna hit this level, and I think at this point, when you see the 9-day moving average, the 20-day moving average, and the 50-day moving average performing and look at this. So, oh my God, sorry, this is chart. This is hot. This is where charts get hot. Wow, and steamy. Look at that. So this is the most heavenly crossover you could ever hope to dream of. Sorry if I'm weirding you guys out. But this is awesome. This is on it. Like honestly, I'm super cool. So 9-day moving average crossover that 200-day EMA. This is on the hourly. The 500 HMA is here as well. You get the lower time frame EMAs, the more bullish EMAs crossing over the higher time frame EMAs that normally sit flat, right? Those are our main resistances. And you can see these levels are respectable. When it breaks, you get a beautiful EMA crossover. Setting up these alerts, right? Adding a moving average, 9-day moving average crossing, what? EMA, 200? Yes, open-ended, created. HMA, you can do the same thing. You can add 9 alerts to the 9-day moving average as it crosses whatever you want. So just throwing that out there. This is pretty sick. I love this. It did fill its gap. So you actually do have an hourly gap. So not even that, you actually filled that gap. And that is half of probably what the momentum was on Friday, is there was a massive gap to fill for Amazon. And it did end up going and filling that gap. So now you have another gap to fill. Now it could take till all the way till Friday to get to that gap. So just know that the momentum is there, but just be patient with that setup. It looks good. Any earnings you're looking forward to? Yes, TMUS, actually, I just wrote that down. There's some I'm weirded out and I'm here for it. Let's go. Uh Drippy mate Matt, I thought you said why do you even trade? I was like, I was about to go ham, but you said that's not what you said. You said what do I trade? I trade stocks. I'm just joking. um all right. So that's Amazon though. Looks really good. Um Okay, so Neo, man, this one's been a difficult one for even me to wrangle. As it is a Chinese company, and unfortunately, they are dealing with a lot of flack for being a Chinese company. This one, I need to clean this up a little bit. There we go. So this one, I think you guys can already see it. Massive, same falling wedge that we've been talking about. Now, here's the big question. So let me go to the daily here. Okay, so the big question here is one, do we break the 200-day EMA and do we leave this gap unfilled, right? So we have a gap and we actually gap down into it and gap down above it. So I'm a little concerned about having that gap there. You do see the TTM just now starting to fire off. And that TTM squeezes a momentum indicator. But everything outside of the daily is speaking overbought, right? As you approach this resistance, I would be very careful about trying to get into Neo right now with the way that the price action is. I think a lot of people, and this is the okay. So I'm going to teach you something about wedges. Wedges oftentimes will frustrate traders, and this is where I use my EMAs and my moving averages to back up or um, basically give me confirmation that this is a real resistance, not one that I'm forcing, right? HMA lined up perfectly right when the stock gets to it. It's almost like it's magic, right? It's almost like somebody designed it that way. It's kind of weird. But what somebody could have seen is a breaking downtrend, right? How perfect is that? How many retail people do you think saw this setup here and were like, oh my God, but they forced it. Look, I can't set this resistance on anything and get that same mark without forcing it, right? But when I don't force it and I'm not being biased, a real resistance forms, right? And that's exactly what this is, a fake out here, and this is where levels come in handy. But that's still a fake out. So anyway, that being said, that's a pretty gnarly rejection. Now, if we break it, we still have the 200-day EMA, right? Once we break that 200-day EMA, this is the 4-hour, mind you, then you have a gap fill above you as well. That gap fill fills all the starts at 39.50 and fills at 40.50. So there's a lot ahead of you, and be careful. That's all I'm gonna say. So really unusual volume on Neo, I have to say. Yeah, low volume, mind you. So okay, Baba was the next one. Um, yeah, no, I don't want to bum out the session, Jughead, but I had a family member that's very I was close with as a child. He passed away, and so I was unable to attend, so I had to talk to some family and stuff like that. So but all is well. So Baba here though. So I have a deviation trend here set. Let me go check something really quickly. Okay, I'm on the money with that. Feels good when you have the right idea on this. So I think it's inevitable that 188 could be 185. I think is definitely a probability here. So 170.50 is the break you're going to look for to the upside. Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. I figured I'd say something. So yeah, this one was a little tough. So but okay, so all right, Baba. All right. Um, Zoom. I think patience on Zoom may end up playing out, or paying off. I think Zoom now it's one of those things. I think something's going to happen when, and I don't know what it is, but I think you're going to start seeing an accumulation type phase happen here on Zoom. So you can see here, this is the rejection 273, 275. I'm sorry, 275 on Zoom. That's where you rejected. So that's going to be the level to break. And you can see that's the level that we did break previously, but this is now the zone. So I can't tell you, we could trade indefinitely within this zone, but um, we do still have a gap above us at 305, closing all the way at 340. So a super long or a leap like that maybe might be a good speculative call here. And you are sitting kind of around that 50 EMA, but it does have uh, an interesting setup. This candle here, right? Um, that would oftentimes, even after a rejection like this, which this isn't the craziest rejection. You know, we've seen harsher rejections, right? Things like this. That's a dark. Oh, there we go. So, guys, this is a dark cloud cover. I know you guys have been hearing me talk about this a lot. Here it is. So I'm gonna tweet it out. I'm gonna copy and paste it. So that's going to be a dark cloud cover. And it's not a perfect one, but it is. So it's a gap up, right? Open higher, and then loss of 50% or more of the previous day's gains. I'm tweeting that out on my Twitter. All right. Okay, so we got Zoom. 275. That's going to be where you're going to want to watch that one. Looks like you're curling. I'll watch that one with you. I'm going to watch that one at 268. So, one thing you can do as well is make sure you add an alert crossing. I'm adding this one to cross over the EMA 200. So hourly time frame, open ended. So I'll be waiting for that alert to go off. Wow, somebody on my Twitter just said something. That's a pretty powerful tweet. This is actually 52 minutes ago. Being bipolar and learning to trade has slash is better than medication for me. Oh my God. I read that wrong. Never mind. I thought he said taking medication has helped for him. It's literally that's crazy. Being bipolar and learning to trade. Oh, I get what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading this tweet. I didn't realize somebody had tweeted me. All right. All right. I think yeah, Tesla, all that other stuff is right behind us. So okay, so we got Zoom. Any other ones in the Discord? Yeah. Pin. Okay. So I actually was just talking about Penn earlier. This is where things get a little fishy for me. So take a look at this. Do you see these candles? That's a lot of weakness. That's a lot of weakness. And then the rejection that you get right here off of the same zone that you fall from. Do you see how much volume steps up right there? And I think it's even worth setting up that that volume profile here to kind of see where these people are hold on. Ugh, never mind. Wait, there we go. Okay. So the selling volume, do you see how high it is in this level? And the buying volume here, it doesn't rival the consistency of the selling volume. Um, Obviously getting above 85.50 is going to be where the sweet spot for them. They're gonna try and make that move to the $100 97.50 level. But at this moment, we're fighting heavily against that 200-day EMA. You can see how well respected it is. Do you see? I mean, multiple rejections off of this level. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. And I think this is another great opportunity to go onto that 9-day moving average. And now I'm going to do this multiple alerts on one moving average. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to EMA, and I'm going to go start with the 20, right? So now I have an alert for the 20. Then I'm going to go back and set it on the alert. Another alert crossing, right? EMA 50, right? So now as that crosses over, because they're so tight, right next to each other, that's what I'm going to be waiting for, is that most bullish moving average to kick into gear and start that crossover, where you may end up seeing people buy into that. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and add that last 200-day EMA right there, and that alert should be set. Most of the indicators here definitely give you room to either side. So the RSI is dead center, and the MACD is dead center. Momentum and volume are really what you need. And then you do have earnings, I think it says November 4th, but I can't verify that because this thing is dog water when it comes to that. So, all right. Okay, so you're making more of a bullish pennant here. And looking at the overall, like, look at these wicks on the weekly. That feels like people buying the dip. Like that, I can't tell you how much money it takes to have to make this happen. Um, and that's not usually seen until you hit some sort of bottom. Um, so and that looks so crazy, man. I don't think I've ever seen Disney wick like that. Um, but all that being said, um, first of all, the overall movement on Disney is rough. This right here is super scammy price action, but the range break that you need is 180. It's quite simple. You need to get above 180. 180, and that's where the magic, quote or pun intended, starts to happen for Disney. That's when you can start to go and test your downtrend. But at this moment, every single bit of rejections has happened at that one, all the way from the 178 to 179, 180 levels. So for me, this range, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't even touch the small time frame range that we were holding. And you can go to the 4 hour and really start to get a definitive look at what that looks like. So you see right here, and you did have news that came out on Disney as well. We got that on Benzinga Pro when it came in, and it did pop. But of course, it was a Friday, and market makers used that as a way to create a little bit of liquidity, and probably exercising a lot of the contracts that had a delta of higher, or around 1.0, obviously. So in the money, contracts were probably exercised. So, but anyway, Disney pulled back heavy towards the end of the day. I would wait for a bounce off of the 175 level. That's always a psychological level. You can see where it's bouncing off of here at 176.50. So for me, I like to use Disney's like bullish indicators. So any type of crossover to the upside. This is not looking really good for continuation to the upside, though. As far as the lower time frame price action here, you can see the RSI super well respected. As soon as it touches, look at this. Look at how well respected. as soon as it touches overbought, it immediately rejects. So you might see a little bit of consolidation here. And I don't know, when is earnings? So earnings for Disney says is on November 10th, but I feel like I just don't believe that. Okay, they're not lying. So it is on November 10th. So you may just see Disney sit here until earnings, and then on earnings it goes pops back up to around its HMA. So that's kind of what I would say on this. Really, really rough price action, but I think more buying is happening here. So but again, you still have a gap to the downside below 160, closing at 157. So if you did end up breaking, you are on the daily 200-day EMA, so you could see some serious downside if earnings doesn't go up. All right, so MRNA. So it actually, look at it, look at what it rejected, that 500 HMA, and you can see that mRNA, look at that, especially it being an ancient company. Look at this rejection here. Look at these candles sitting on top of it. Wick here, super well respected moving average. So all that being said, right, this is pivotal. This is exactly, I think, where we talked about a gap fill. Did it get filled? It did. So there was a small gap on Moderna that needed to be filled, and it did. It got filled, I think. Oh, it did actually get filled before too, but it definitely got filled there. And this is the gap. Okay, so never mind. There is a gap here at 160 that we were looking to have filled. That didn't get filled yet. There's also a smaller gap there above it. But all that being said, getting a rejection off of that daily moving average there, that HMA is now possibly going to set Moderna into a range bounce. So you may end up staying right in this zone until you find your next catalyst. And it has been for all vaccine companies the booster news and what anything having to do with the vaccine. And honestly, as everyone gets more and more vaccinated, and I guess the percentage of vaccinations goes higher, the less data or the less news that they have to rely on to spark them to the upside. Because you have to remember, besides the S&P inclusion, a lot of the movement to the upside for most of these vaccine stocks was from the vaccine itself. Pfizer, mRNA, the big ones. And so seeing them fall so hard, look at Pfizer. Pfizer has been in a straight dump-a-roni for like, it feels like months now. And it's just been consistent and nonstop, all the way back down to its previous supply zone. So Moderna, honestly, looking at it at the moment, it could just be that it's just priced too high, and that's why we're seeing those rejections. So at the moment, looking at this candle here, I would look for anywhere below 315. 315 is going to be the magic number that you could see a drop down to the $300, $295 level. So all right. Oh yeah, that's money. I love the deviation. Oh, this is one thing I hate about it. I have to do that. So is this a buy the dip and let it rip? Because anywhere above 226, and I would say you're going to start hearing price targets for 260. So 260, I think, would be a decent, and this has to do with obviously price and time, right? We have semiconductor issue happening right now. But all that being said, timing will be everything here, but you do see that off of these bounces, even off of and it looks like the 50. So if you look at the 50-day EMA, you get two major bounces off of that EMA. So at the moment, you're actually getting a nice EMA crossover here to the upside. Um, So check that out right there. So nice EMA crossover to the upside. As far as the hourly is concerned, this one did leave a minor gap below you, closing at 209.50 and opening at 211. But at the moment, your resistance is still right here. So I'll mark these out. And there also is gaps to the upside to fill. Not only is there gaps to the downside. So NVIDIA, there's a gap here for those of you scalpers and day traders, 221.50, closing at 224.50. That's a small gap. The gap that you're in currently could end up gapping up to two, but that closes at 220 and starts at 218. That could end up being a gap up and pull back. So watch for a gap up and a potential pullback. Also, might be stretching this one. Yeah, I'm stretching that. Never mind. There is a support that you can keep your eyes on though, right here. This is a verified trend line right here. So watch this trend line to be the rubber band that continues to send you up. So if you end up gapping up, don't be surprised if you end up seeing this thing gap up and then pull back into this support. And at which point you could see your next leg up into this range right here, which is that gap fill. So Bitcoin running. We're going to all-time highs. I know I bought, and then it like, I even told everybody on Discord, like, I'm buying. I went to bed and it dumped, and I was like, all right, no, I'm not even, I just bought again, and I was like, no, it's about to bounce. Like, I can literally see it, it ripped. Speaking of our NVIDIA, does look like you can see the RSI. Everything looks like it's going to give you a little bit of a pullback here, but it looks good. So been of uptrend. So think Netflix will have good earnings because of Squid Games. I do think this is going to be big. I do think it's worth watching. So, all right, Discord. Thank you guys for everything. Dropping those in there, and thank you guys for all those well wishes. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm scrolling up here. How's it going, guys? I'm going to be doing all sorts of analysis, and those analysis requests are going to be on my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio. I may end up actually restarting. Ooh, I got confetti. Nice. Thanks, Crypto Stacker. You guys don't have to send me stuff though. I appreciate it. Gifts and all that. That's very nice. Okay. So hey yo, GRNQ, Green Pro Capital. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. That thing needs some milk. All right. So man, y'all really test my skills here sometimes. So I have to. These are the type of charts that give you imposter syndrome. You're like, what? Do I know anything here? I don't think I do. I know nothing. Especially with this big green right or this big red dingus here. What am I supposed to do with that? All right. Well, let's find our trend. Hot damn, we found it. Did we? Or are we just stretching things? Hold on 1 second. Looking for the areas of most respect here, and I'm not seeing. So this looks like some type of earnings debacle. This was a huge gap up, right? And then just a complete rip to the downside. Um, so, um, I mean, so looking at this chart, honestly, I don't even like telling people anything when I see charts like this because you can see the price. If you see a company with price action like this is literally pumping and dumping, pumping, dumping, pumping, dumping. It's not fun. That is just hot garbage. Hot garbage, and there's a different kind of hot garbage, but same garbage. So that price action, I would want to know more about the fundamentals here before trading it. If you're going off of a short squeeze or anything like that, I mean, that's a whole different story. I don't know anything about this company, but GRNQ, RSI does start to speak for a potential reversal. Could happen around a cent. So I did SPY. Facebook, that's a good one to do. Okay, so I'm gonna go and do this. Pull my deviation channel out again. Okay, so that is a verified, and this happened on earnings. Let me redo this just to make sure. Right, that's right. Okay. So based off of what I know, right? Either now this is using the standard definition or using the definition of a standard deviation channel. 95% of the time we're going to stay within these deviations. Now we are at a point like we were here that we could chop for days. We could stay in this range for days. 335 is where we break trend to the upside, right? Everything says oversold, oversold, MACD's rolling over, volumes, TTM squeeze, earnings is coming up, and that's where things change. Facebook could possibly rip on earnings or lose its major moving average here and anywhere below 315 for Tesla or for Facebook. We're going to start to see some real pullbacks below 300 into the 296 level, which is a major supply zone below you, and even potentially as low as 275. Now, that all happens on earnings, but if earnings go well, based on this deviation channel, we could end up ripping and roaring and moving right back into that four. And I'm telling you guys, the government likes Facebook. I don't care what they say. And I'm not being political here. It's from a data perspective. Having data on people is exactly, I mean, they've expressed literal interest on it. So, you know, they will find some way to make this seem okay while also continuing to let Facebook be the data analytic crazy big brother company that it is. So that are just dividing it and putting it into with the recent hacking, do you think it would rip? So I mean that's where earnings comes into play. So where most of the time you're gonna rip from here. So you know it's just a matter of setting alerts and reacting. Good evening. So Macy's, of course, is on watch this week. Why is it on watch? It's a beautiful little channel here. I wonder if my yay, it's kind of whack, but so based on this channel that I've made, you can see that we've filled 50% of the gap, but most of the gap is not filled. So we have the gap fill happening at 26 or 24.75. That's Macy's, and I personally, based off of the cleanliness from the chart or resistance above you, I do anticipate this thing running into or around 26.50. Um, that's my guess here. So 26.50, and that's if we break loose of that gap and move to the upside. So um, BBIG. So I have nothing more to say about BBIG. Had a break and downtrend here, ripped extreme volume, the reversal candle here. You almost had that hammer candle, or you do have a hammer candle here. So you did end up rejecting the $9 level, 9.15, which ooh, that's pretty gnarly actually. But overall, I would suspect, you know, a pullback 766 somewhere in there. Let me go look at the 15. Let me. So, I mean, really. Wait, hold on a second. So, so this is where multiple time frame analysis comes in. Okay. So take a look at this. That's pretty clean flag. So 15-minute flag, obviously that's going to translate to that higher time frame. So there's your flag. So you may end up seeing it, and look at where my support is. Looky there. Boom. You see that? We potentially we flag until things get quiet. Right? Oops. Let's try that again. So that would be what I would be looking for. And then you could also, right? And this doesn't work all the time, but there is something there to be seen. Ooh, my God, that looks so good. Sorry, charts are fun. So I don't know if there's a perfect bounce spot, but I would say 775 is where I'd put my money. 775 is where I would watch. If you don't just fall straight there, if you I would watch for a flag type setup on BBIG. So we'll let that thing sit like that. Okay. I would not recommend getting into Facebook with weekly or any type of ex quick like close to expiration contracts. No, unless you see news. Earnings could be lucrative. I'm not gonna lie. I do tend to fire out a couple of good earnings plays here and there. I don't know if anybody took AA with us, but that was pretty fun. Hey, yo, you can't de yeah. 0, 0. If you're still on one of these lives, send me a thumbs up in that DM and I'll answer your question here. Watching you while Mason is trying to say daddy no more TV. Oh, tell the kiddos I said, what's up, Mario? Cute. um, oh my God. Yeah. All right. Ooh, Zynga, yeah? I'm gonna have to set an alert on this, Mark. I actually have an option call. I was looking at it on Zynga. So what'd you say? What did they say about Zynga? They said 12 analysts have a strong buy this month with $11 target. That seems like an analyst pump and dump, but we'll see what happens here. Let's see. What happened there? They must have had news and they suffered a correction. Okay, there we go. Make sure this is nice and clean. Always worth looking at. Channel. Oh, don't like that. Doesn't standard deviation channel does not work with everything. Just throwing that out there just in case you guys didn't know. Okay, so man, sure looks like they want to. Okay, so on technicals, that price target reaction hasn't we haven't seen a response. I would say on the lower time frame, it's pretty obvious that this is your support and you're on it. That being said, you're kind of making a bit of a flag here. So you could see another bounce. That bounce would break downtrend. That's where I'd be looking at things to get serious. Anywhere, and I'm going to use this 200-day EMA because it's lined up with the top of this zone in which we flushed from, which is 780. So 780 and into the $8 mark, that's where things are going to be really pivotal. Watch the daily time frame for big spikes in volume here. But overall, Zynga, this reaction here, that's a major sell-off. So if anything, that price target upgrade could have provided liquidity for market makers to force this one down a little bit lower. And all that being said, I would watch for a bounce. You could use your pivot points. Nope, you don't want to use that because your pivot. Oh, yeah. So you could bounce at $7 even. I have a 690 S1 pivot here on the daily time frame. So another rejection. Now, where does that lead us if we did end up seeing that? Hold on one second. We fall. Oh, okay. So you could end up performing a wedge from that point. But yeah, that's the support underneath you for Zynga. So interesting setup there. If you guys are on TikTok, I apologize. I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm on YouTube right now, taking requests there. So, we will be live tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern time, for pre-market prep, probably a little bit earlier. We'll see what happens there, but yeah, make sure to drop those requests in there. Um, all right. So Twitter was another one, and this was actually mentioned as another, I think, some dude on CNBC like signaled this as a long. And I could see how he got that set up because there is, this setup overall on Twitter. Follow me. So pretty big pennant forming here on Twitter. So I would anticipate that over this, especially I think this is, so you're on the pivot. So really watch this one as it climbs 63.85 and then 65 or 64.50 on Twitter. You could end up seeing a pretty strong move into the $68 level. Anywhere from 67.50 to 68. That would be where I would anticipate a resistance forming. And then from there, you have a target above it at 71.45 or 71.50, 71.45. So, day hourly setup though, without the pivots. Um, no, that's not it. That's it. How did I decide that? There's something there to make that angle, to push it down like that. That's why I made that adjustment. Wow, that's good. It doesn't get much closer than that. Okay, so this is just a lower time frame support. So the next drop, right? You drop right here, you could see a $60 bounces obviously, but the HMA is sitting right here. So if you do not end up popping, that's where you could end up seeing a lot of your price action occur in this zone here. But overall, you're sitting nice and clean on support. So um, I'll tweet this out, I guess. No. I will say though, if you guys are new, and you guys are dropping repeat tickers, I'm not gonna and I don't mean any offense to anybody. I'm not gonna go and like specifically pick out your ticker because you keep repeating it. It actually makes it way harder for me to do this. So if you guys in the future would not repeat your tickers, it's gonna make me, in fact, it gets, for my eyes, looking at the chat right now, I don't even know what stocks are. I lose sight of all reality. Everything starts to break apart for me. So if you could delete your repeat request if you can, but it does make it quite difficult for me to siphon through what's first, who requested whatever. So please make sure to chop those off if you don't mind. So my Twitter, if you guys are on TikTok or on YouTube, that's in my link tree. You can click on my name in the Discord in the owner section. But yeah, thank you guys. I hope you guys understand. I appreciate it. So um it's just really difficult for me to siphon through. So All right. Speaking of, um, wait, Snoop Dogg is going to space next week? Oh God. What creates gaps? Oftentimes news, Ryan. News events will cause gaps. It's basically where the price, and if it's the upside, your price is going to close at a lower price and open on a new day at an entirely higher price, leaving a gap on the chart. And that can happen to the downside as well. Um, so hey, what's up, guys? TikTok, I'm on YouTube right now. Feel free to hop on that. It's Snoop Dogg is going to get high. That is a technical fact. Um, I don't know. Who knows? I imagine he will be very stoned for that, or very sober. Who knows? Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Stoned, as in like someone's going to throw a rock at him. This is a rock YouTube that we're talking about, so calm down. Okay, and TikTok. Okay, so anyway, moderation. All right, Twitter. Let's see what do we got next. I'm trying to get through all of these. Um, Zynga short interest. Okay, we'll do, man. Okay, so I see Dava or Nike and Dava. Sorry if I'm confusing anybody. All right, so this is where I like to go to the 4 hour, especially when I have trend lines like this, because it can get very confusing as to where it actually is. And I do want to see wicks, right? Since the price action is so small, I need to see the respect. And so I do see the respect here. And we are, in fact, moving here up towards this resistance. That resistance is probably going to happen. I would speculate at 160. Okay. Now that may even be a little bit of a toss up because you may not even get 150. You may see 159.50. If you see a rejection at that point and looking at the RSI, I would be very prepared for a pullback. And honestly, it's one of those pullbacks where it's up against a major downtrend resistance and it's going to fill its gap. Okay. It's going to go fill a gap. And guess what it has below it? A huge ass gap, huge, totally huge. So all the way to 134. And they still have already had their earnings. Everything about them right now is kind of screaming oversold. The play on it is going to be relatively short lived into the gap. And that's where things are going to start getting a little bit dicey for Nike. So that's Nike right now. I think the next one I saw was Dava. Um, song name, the one that was just on. Um, that was Self Control by or Justice Dare. Self Control. It's jazz, lo-fi or something like that. I don't know. It's background music. Um, okay, so let's do Dava. So Dava has a beautiful flag here on the 4 hour, nice bull flag. Um, daily time frame only helps that you even get a nice doji forming underneath the 9 day moving average. So you may end up seeing a reversal. For me, I would set the 150.50, so the high of yesterday, as a potential place to enter. That could be a speculative entry where you scale in, but that's only if you see good volume. The thing that I would mention, or I think that is worth mentioning here, is that you are the RSI does look a little close to overbought, and you are losing momentum on the MACD. Oftentimes during this process, I will go and look and use my whole ribbon indicator to see the strength of the trend. So looking at the overall strength of the trend, you're still holding up fine. So it may just be that you need to continue to flag in. So potentially a news catalyst going forward, but above 150.50, and then above this lower high of 153.35 would probably be a confirmed flag breakout. And then the whole ribbon that I use, or based on the way that I use it, as soon as it touches it, that's when you're really in danger. You need to bounce off of it. So um, just kind of staying away from that and letting buyers hold this up at this level. But again, it's always a probability that you retest the very same level that you broke out. So 141 would be that level there. So um, I did Tesla. Crypto stocks and the new ETF you looking forward to? I mean, I kind of follow the crypto weatherman on TikTok and the blockchain boy to see kind of what they're buying. And then I go chart it for myself. And if I like the chart, I'm not in fact, I mean, I could be a more educated crypto investor, and I look forward to more opportunities to do that. But at the moment, I've been pretty enveloped and preoccupied with stocks. Lord help me if I get into other forms of trading. I'm gonna be trading sticks and stones before you know it. Um, dun dun dun. Are we gonna break all times highs? That would suck if we rejected. Anyway, all right. Sorry, I just saw crypto over there moving green. So, anyway, that's my analysis on DAVA. I see that we have AMD. Okay, so AMD's made a nice move to the upside. You can see a lot of rejections here. Um, so I gotta admit, looking at the price range that you're in right now, I would hope for AMD to hold this level. Now, what I will say is that I do not like gaps. I've said that before, say it again. I don't like stocks that have gaps. In fact, you can see the gap up here. Retail gets smoked as this thing rides into a pennant. Secondly, right, you're on that 200-day EMA, which is a trampoline, but can also be the exact opposite. You also get a break in downtrend, right? So holy crazy setup here on the hourly. But at the moment, right, at the moment, you're just sitting up here with this flag. Now, when I sit and make flags like this, it is a low volume opportunity to get shorted. And so if you go look at the RSI here, right? You look at how it responds here, okay? You are going to pull back. And I would first anticipate that pullback happening all the way to potentially 109.50. And that's only now it depends on how you gap up or gap down. If you gap down and you gap down significantly or something of that nature due to the data that due to the data that we do have coming in, then you could potentially see that pullback. And now something else. Let's see, is this correct? Ooh, it is correct. Why is it correct? Because I can see the wick up here, the wick up here, the rejection here, the mark there. Hold on one second. Let's go remove this auto data and go double check because we don't want to get caught doing confirmation bias. All right, body of the candle there, wick of the candle, we're all contained here, wick. So the hope here in the lower time frame is that if you do pull back, you pull back here and then go make a significantly higher high. I would say 115 would be my mark. But obviously resistance would be the target. So the timing in which that occurs would be the whole process that you would want to see play out. So um I did Macy's. Visa. Oh my God. Okay, so I think I've done this one like a couple of times now, but it's probably worth restarting here. Okay, there's our trend. Ooh, did we long Visa here? Lots of sales happening, lots of online sales happening, lots of debit cards being used for winter season. Now, how do we find our target from there? We're going to pull this around. Right there, right? Now, this auto-generated is going to give you less, right? It's going to give you a safer with everything. You can choose to expand that, right? So it's still a deviation away. So looking at that, right? You could at this point, and this looks good. I'm going to be honest with you. This looks really good. I like that movement to the upside here. I like that you have room to the upside. You do have earnings. That's everything. That's on the 26th. So that's happening soon. But you could see Visa based on this trend, right? I would say the first immediate target is going to be this deviation, the linear regression, the middle line that we run through, that we bounce off of consistently. That's going to be right around there. That's going to be 240, 241. Okay. At that point, always expecting a pullback. You can't make anything happen straight line, right? At that point, who knows? You end up running into the 270s. That'd be my best guess. 265. So watch for those price target upgrades, but that's based off of a support bounce there and using the standard deviation channel. So there you go. That's that long-term trend anyway. So the frame of the entry or the where I would speculate, really looking at adding to my position is right above this mark here, and that's going to be 231 to 232. So as you move into those marks, I think especially 235, that stuff you're going to see volume start to pick up. But again, earnings is everything. So all right, if you guys lots of yeah. If you guys are just tuning in here on YouTube, I use TradingView. Um, Charting AMD will take care of quite a few requests. Yeah, I did that already. Hopefully everyone got that one. I'm about to do a couple of more here. I see there's definitely some repeat patterns, but if you guys are in here and leaving a request, please, please, please do not leave repeat request. So I actually already did Baba, I believe. Did I do Baba? Hold on. I feel like I did Baba. Yeah, I definitely did Baba. Yeah, so Baba actually has I need to set alert on that one because Baba's gonna go back up. Baba's gonna go to 185, I think. I need to make sure I have alerts set on that one. Okay. What the fuck? Oh man, we just shut up. All right. I'll do CEI, but you guys know what I'm gonna say. Notice how nobody's talking about it anymore. Okay, so clearly, hold on 1 second. Bitcoin is running. Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get through these messages. My brain. All right, I already did Facebook, but we'll do Pat. And guys, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. So if I didn't get to your guys' request, I do apologize. Not here, but in just a second here, I'm gonna go ahead and slow down. Um, but yeah, this I gotta go ahead and get ready to go to bed and stuff like that. I'm gonna finish up here on TikTok as well after that. But okay, so let's see here. So looking at this, I still see a falling wedge. This one's going up for the third tap. Infrastructure bills coming up could end up being a good catalyst to the upside. Right now, the target is your downtrend, and that downtrend is going to be at 202, basically 200. That's where you're going to want to see cat tap. If you can break above the 200-day EMA, that's where I want to break and hold until you make your next leg up. But you do have earnings coming up on September 28th, and that's going to be huge. So, um, how to check full screen your PC? Sorry, I just don't know who this person is. I did check Tesla. Just check my chart here. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah, I already do Netflix. Okay, so overall, Netflix is still flagging, even though you saw an engulfment. Shorter time frame support here, resistance here. This is likely going to be the uptrend that you hold, I imagine. Um, that being said, the daily things get a little bit messier. It's not as clean. Oh shit. I don't know what I just did, but I'm gonna just okay, there we go. There we go. So I'm anticipating another bounce, another leg up, maybe even seeing, I mean, you could see it depends on how long this wedge ends up traveling. So you could, if you end up trading flat here, I would see a big pop towards the end of the week to 650, 670. So a really strong move here. I that's what I would be anticipating here. But it is worth mentioning on the daily, you get that like crazy ass engulfment of the previous day's candle, but I don't know if that's going to end up playing true. The real support is here, so you could see 618 somewhere in that range. I would set lots of alerts on that one, so that way you don't miss it, because it will likely pop um, out and from underneath you. I'm not trading right now. I use the Premier trading. I do have a 30% off code, but I don't know how to use it. I'll have to pull that up. So, um, chat's getting more and more full here over the last couple of days. It's hard to get through all the messages sometimes. All right. So that's a by definition cup and handle on LAC. I think I talked about this previously. I don't see any reason why this isn't going to go run into the 26 $85, even go and hit $30 at this point. The volume during this stage is outstanding. I see it running into earnings in November. So everything looks good for a continuation here. You even have multiple EMA crossover or moving average crossovers here, and the whole ribbon indicator just flipped green. So watch for a break above this high on LIC, $26, and for continuation past that. Okay. Can I do AA? I can. Um, so I think this is another one that is established a long-term trend here. I don't know if I like the deviation channel on it though. Like I said, it doesn't always work that way. I would say at this point it's got to pull back. It's got to do something. You can't rip like that, and not have some sort of pullback. Now, it's also worth mentioning that you have a pretty big old gap underneath you. It doesn't matter if you're going to continue the upside, but the 9-day moving average is at $54. So it's definitely one of those things where from where we took it, because we played this stock, we did a really beautiful high risk, or excuse me, low risk, high reward type of play on Alcola for somewhere around 300+% for some of those runners that we left on Alcola. But at this point, I would suspect seeing some sort of pullback. You might be able to start seeing signs of a reversal with a rounded top forming here, or something of that nature. So the bullish case would be just holding this 40-54 range. So PayPal. Ooh, excuse me. Did I do PayPal already? I feel like I did PayPal already, but no, I didn't. Excuse me, I'm super tired. All right. So top resistance very clearly here. That is, oh my God, that is actually a thing. Look at that. This was your support, correction, rejection, rejection again. So at this point, clearing this away and pulling this off of its highs and running it into its actual, so go to the 4-hour here. That is clearly some sort of, and this is where seeing through the noise can be really important, because you can see that this major price mark right here gets pulled right back under and left back in trend. So and that was probably likely news. News will often blow technicals, but then if technicals pull them back under, you'll see that reign true. So no matter what, PayPal or excuse me, PLTR was a perfect example of that. Everyone heard the news, it spiked up, but guess what? PLTR. Oh my God. So PLTR actually ended up forming a bear flag underneath. It spiked, hit resistance, and then so this fucked up. Spiked up, hit resistance turns or support turned resistance, and then ended up making a bear flag here to the downside. So, but good example of a retest there. So PayPal, I do see a falling wedge. And you did come out of an inverse head and shoulders. So above 272, and we can see PayPal potentially run into a higher trend here. So see if I see anything there. Nope, 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 nope. All right, guys. Sorry, can you tell me? Where do you go get the ribbon? I tweeted that out. How do you draw the area that follows the candlestick? Show like you had on Bob on Snap. How do you draw the area that follows the candlesticks? What are you talking about? The area. I'm confused. Sorry. Yeah, I just did Netflix. Any peanut butter and jelly? No peanut butter. David, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Got to work through the tough times sometimes, healthily, of course. Snee, got to be in the chat, dude. DM me in the chat. You don't have to be on there. Oh, I see what you're gonna tell me on ASML already. You're looking to take this one into the gap, correct? Above 800. Above 800 cup. Watch for a handle to potentially form here. You could even see and that handle, don't be so handles can look a lot of different ways. This handle could go and retrace and fill your gap, and then you could see your move. So don't be careful on that gap fill because you could see a cup and handle there. Oh, trend channel. So you go over to the second selection here, and you'll see a trend line, arrow, info line, extended line, etc., etc. You can grab the regression trend, and oftentimes, like I said, it doesn't always hit, but it does. Especially with the better, the more solid the stock, the more likely your regression channel is going to fall into trends. But it doesn't work on every single stock. The more volatile it is, the less likely it's going to be able to work. So what did I just delete? I just feel like I did something to my chart. Oh well. Um, Too late to buy Bitcoin. Well, if it's gonna go to 100K, then no. I mean, that's based on, and that's just the thing. It's always gonna go as high as people believe it wants to. So they got earnings this week. So that's where so Snee, you said ASML. If they have earnings this week, and look at the volume here, this thing could skyrocket based on what you're saying. There's gaps to fill everywhere. Everywhere. So I mean it could end up being a very lucrative earnings trade. But again, I don't know anything about the fundamentals. You'd have to give me a little bit more on that one. So all right, guys. Those of you on YouTube, I'm gonna yeah, of course. I'll be live tomorrow morning. If you guys are in the Discord, you guys know you can always DM me in the morning. Um, yeah, so if you guys want to if I missed your request, I didn't mean to, make sure to go back and check. I probably did leave an alert or I probably did cover it, but if I didn't, I will be live tomorrow morning as always to prep for the market, but I will be early on tomorrow morning. So but I hope I didn't miss any of you guys' stocks. I think I did, but I'm pretty tired. I've had a long weekend. And yeah, just need to get some rest. So um but I appreciate you guys. You guys' support has been awesome. Your kind messages on Friday helped a lot. It's been a tough couple of days. But you guys definitely helped make it a little bit better. So I apologize. I'd love to keep this going. I'm tired. I took my kids to the carnival yesterday, and I'm still beat from that. So do I have a discount code? I don't have one right now for the monthly, but I do have one for the yearly. That's 25% off. And then the real discount code right now comes through my Patreon. That's 6 months in the Discord, and that's 1 month with basically, and you can go look at the description. That's basically custom videos for you. You have my number, my WhatsApp, so you can basically text message me. I video respond to most of those messages, so you need that type of one-on-one. That's more of my time. But Joseph, if you guys want to DM me on Discord, you can. And if I have time in the morning, I'll do a quick chart and throw it and shoot you a DM on it. So, thank you, Reese. I appreciate that. Yeah, time is all you need on that one. So, um, but yeah, you guys can check out my link. Is in Twitter Linktree. Feel free to check that out. And I'll see you guys in the morning. Thank you guys so much. Peace out.